Schools administrative team, we'd like to welcome you and celebrate the grand opening of Bill Wallace Early Childhood. Roughly 2 years ago, our community showed its confidence in our school district by overwhelmingly passing a bond issue that made this facility possible. It is our sincere hope that we do not disappoint and that you're as proud of this facility as we are. I know that I speak for the members of the board as well as administrators when I say that it is an honor to be a part of this process. As the afternoon goes on, if you have questions for any of the administrators, feel free to get them. We'll be more than happy to help you with everything that we can. At this time, would you please join Robin Morris in leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nice, all the it's exciting.
Thank you, Mr. Bush. Again, we appreciate everybody coming out this afternoon to celebrate this great moment in our community. And I just want to take just a couple of minutes and talk about our background of this particular project. In 2006, in April, we had about 40 to 60 members of our community come together and started a planning process where we assessed our current facilities throughout Chickasha schools. Also, we started to look at what our needs were for our community and also for our school district. We spent approximately 14 months in that planning process, and we came up with a plan that was multi-tiered. Our first step, through the consensus of the committee, was to come back to the high school, add 5 science labs, and remodel the high school. And we did that. We went to the community in 2006, or really 2008, I'm sorry, and we passed a bond issue, and we built that facility and remodeled it in a 2-year process. In 2010, our second step of our long-term process was to build an elementary school. We felt like our biggest need was an early childhood center. The community approved that also, and 2 years later, we have this magnificent building right at 66,000 square feet. So the planning committee put together their proposal, and the next step was taken it to our Board of Education. And on our board, we have 5 members right now. We have 1 board member that was involved in this process also, and that's John Smith. He is here with his wife. I'd like to give John Smith, he's back there in the back. Let's give John Smith a round of applause for serving on the board during that time. And then we have our current board, which we have our Vice President, I believe is Joe Alford. Then we have members Scott Williams, Karen Horn, and Mr. Bean.
Hello, I'm Kathy Seimer, and I'm the librarian for the Bill Wallace Early Childhood Center in Chickasha. This is our new facility that's just opening up on Thursday of this week, and it's been a labor of love and a memorial to Bill Wallace and the Wallace family and their books. This area is our pre-K and kindergarten checkout area. It is full of lots of great picture books. It's decorated with some characters that they know, but it's also decorated with artwork from an Oklahoma artist named Mike Wimmer, who's also an artist, illustrator, and author. And we were really pleased to have his work. Our library is all decorated with authentic work from Oklahoma artists or illustrators. We don't have any artwork in here from anyone other than Oklahomans. So it's an Okie-based library. I'm Christina McBride.
Bill had already finished being principal, and I was under Mr. Perry at West when I came in. I started teaching again, but I have to tell you, the first time that I ever read Beauty to my class, it was my first time to read the book, and I ended up crying.
Oh, yeah.
My little second graders all gathered around me. It touches your heart so unbelievably. And
Yeah.
that was his idea, to write children's books, because at lunch hour there just wasn't anything that really captivated the classroom. So he started writing books. And he's a wonderful, wonderful man.
He's great, isn't
Yes, we're very blessed to have had him.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank
Our
you.
president is Dr. Bruce Storms, so at this time, Dr. Storms has a few words he would like to mention to the group.
So we want to thank all of you for being here. And again, we want to thank the community for making this possible. I'm the senior member of this board. I'm in my 12th year, and I wasn't going to run again, so you all board up here talked me into staying on. So I've had the pleasure of watching this become a reality. It started out as a dream many years ago. This is the first new school that Chickasha has built since 1968, when we built the high school. We rebuilt it in the early 70s after a fire, but as far as starting from scratch, this is the first new school. We've not only had the opportunity as a board, with your support from the community, to enhance the physical plants of our school system, but with the enhancement of our physical plant comes a better environment for learning for the children of Chickasha. And the whole goal and purpose of being on this board, and you can ask each of the board members this, is to make education the best it can be for the children of Chickasha, and that's what we're all about. So I want to thank you all for coming out today. I want to thank you for the vote that you gave us when you passed this bond issue by over 76%. On the same day, other communities around us were voting their bond issues down, which means that the people of Chickasha are committed to better education, and we as a board have tried to be good stewards of what you've entrusted us to do in building a fine facility here, which will serve your children and your grandchildren and the children after that. And it's a great pleasure that I've had to serve on this board during this time. We've had great administrators, we've had great construction management. I'll turn it back to Mr. Glaze to introduce the rest of our people that will talk.
Thank you, Dr. Storm. Let's give our Board of Education a round of applause for their hard work. We appreciate each and every one of them very, very much.
I am Beth Ann Meyer, and I got to be a teacher under Bill Wallace. He's the one that hired me in 1978. And I was so blessed to have him for a principal. When he wrote the story Snots Stew during Christmas vacation, he brought it to my classroom in January when we started back, and I got to read it to the children with him sitting in the back of the classroom and read it to, you got to hear it for the first time that way. Such a wonderful man. We are so blessed to have a part of him.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Once our Board of Education signed off on our long-range plan, the next thing we had to do is get us an architect. And the architect that we chose for this particular site was really involved in our planning for that 14-month period. We hired them to help us plan and assess and get a needs assessment, and really just kind of go through and look at our options and so forth. And we chose LWPD to be our architects. And Lisa Cronister was the main architect that worked on this particular project. So I'd like for her to come forward and say a few words. Lisa?
It is so wonderful to see this facility filled with people using it. As Jim was describing, it's been a long process of planning for this day. I want to thank Mr. Glaze, Mr. Bush, and the board for participating with us in the design. LWPB really believes in a collaborative design experience, and Jim and Pete were involved at every step of the way, always pushing us to make sure that every inch of this facility was the best it could be for the students today and the students 20 years from now. I think we've done a good job of providing for all the technology and beautiful, easy to maintain, healthy spaces with plenty of daylighting. And after the ceremony, if you have time to stroll the halls, I hope you'll see that part of our design focus is based off of the Chisholm Trail, and we envision the long corridors and the classroom commons that stops along the Chisholm Trail because that's part of Chickasha's history. We'll look forward to, I also wanted to mention all of the classroom commons are named for an animal that's native to this part of the state, and we were really fortunate to have been able to involve Bill Wallace himself in the naming of the classrooms. We realized early on that we're architects, not writers, and that we needed professional help. And so I think it's a great legacy of the school that the names that were chosen and the creatures that were chosen were from him. So we hope you enjoy it. We'll look forward to working with you guys on the next project.
Thank you, Lisa. Now WPB.
This became my project. I wanted to have a lasting piece of furniture or something that was a memory, and I thought of this globe. And I found this old world design that was Frank Lloyd Wright.
And these are all of Bill's books?
This is a non-circulating, complete set of Wallace family.
In a project, you also have to have other people involved besides the architects. And another key component with the architect is our construction management services, and the Board of Education chose Willowbrook Construction Management Services to partner up with us. In fact, they've done the last 3 projects with Chickasha Public Schools. So this time I'd like Terry DeHart, owner of Willowbrook Construction Management Services.
And cars will start this week here, so really looking forward to that. But again, I want to thank all the people in Chickasha for voting for the future of our kids and the community, and hopefully to be a part of it.
Thank you, Terry. Again, Willowbrook Construction Management Services and LWPB really work together on this. Let's give both of them a round of applause. We appreciate both of them very much.
This picture back here is Peggy Anderson. She contacted me and said, I heard that you were doing something, and so I emailed her.
Tell us about that room back there.
That is the theater. That was something that I went to another building and I saw one and I liked it, but it was sunken down, and so that's not really good wheelchair accessibility. And so I came home and drew it up and took it to the architect, and they turned it into this.
Next, we have to take a possible name for this facility to the Board of Education. And the board talked about it and so forth, and it didn't take a whole lot of discussion, but we really felt like we wanted to name this facility after Bill Wallace and call it our Bill Wallace Early Childhood Center. And unfortunately, he was unable to be here today to see this great moment. But I will say he was able to go through the building before it was completed with his family and kind of see the progress that was being occurring and so forth. And at this time, we have a lot of Bill's family here, so I would like for them to stand, and we would like to recognize them and honor Bill today. So let's give them a round of applause. We appreciate each and every one of you all, and we work with you here today. Thank you for coming. Anytime you do a construction project, it's so important to have all the elements in place. And with that, the city of Chickasha really helped us and gave lots of suggestions to us as we were working to completion and so forth. So at this time, I've asked our city manager, Mr. Stuart Fairburn, to come and say a few words on behalf of the city of Chickasha.
The city is just one of the many partners that it takes to get a school like this going. I'd like to thank our past city manager and our community development department and our building inspector and all the people who reviewed the plans for helping put this together. So I want to really make sure that you understand really the importance of this. A little while ago when I was applying for this job, one of the things that I looked at was that this was a new school that was being built. And to me it was a sign of a growing, caring community and one that I would like to belong to. One that was looking to the future, one that was willing to invest their funds in these hard times so that the children today, 30 years from now, will be the leaders of tomorrow. And so it was just that expression of faith from the community for the future and to invest here today. So I want to thank you for it. It makes my job exciting and it's going to be wonderful as the years go on. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Perryman from Chickasha. I teach at the high school, and my kids grew up reading Bill Wallace books. Matter of fact, we got in the habit of putting the book in the car, and when we would be traveling on vacation and they were little, then I would read to them from the front seat. And I think their very favorite one was the one about Sweetie, and it was the watchdog. It's something, the watchdog and the coyotes, I think, is what the end of the name ended up being. And Carol taught to my kids in school, so
that's
Wallace
great.
family's pretty cool to us.
Well, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Also with the city council right there and the city manager, we have a representative from our community as a whole, and that's our mayor, Mr. Hank Ross. And Hank has a vision for this community, and he wants to see it just continue to grow, become better from day to day. So Hank, can you come forward and share a few words?
Thank you, Jim. Jim, I was sitting here thinking about what the school system has done for Chickasha over the last 6 years. If you include the new gymnasium and the renovation of the high school and this wonderful building we're in today with Bill Wallace, I think the school system has invested, or the citizens of Chickasha that is, have invested close to $30 million in our facilities over the last 6 years. Would I be correct? So that's quite an accomplishment for this community. And why that's so important is that there's a simple formula we use in economic development. And when I say economic development, I'm talking about creating jobs. And when you're mayor, you spend a lot of time thinking about that, about better paying jobs, increase your tax base, and things like that. But I know, since we're in a place of learning, there's a simple economic development formula that many towns use. And it's simply this: new school buildings equal economic development. And what I mean by that is that when you're trying to attract people to your community and trying to relocate industry to your community, the people who have all those manufacturing jobs and are leading those manufacturing firms and other industries, most of those middle managers are people in their 30s. And when they come to town and we meet with them and we try to convince them to come to Chickasha, we're talking to the husbands or sometimes other people, but the wives are checking out the school. And that's why people come to communities with great schools. And I think the city of Edmond is a great example of that. I moved to Edmond in the early 80s. I came from out of state. And I don't know why we did it, but we went to Edmond because we heard they had great schools. They had good schools, but they had new buildings. and people were attracted to that, and look at the growth that it has had. So I'm just thrilled with the investment that the school board and the school system has done. But the one thing I want to say is, I want to say thank you to the people of Chickasha and the citizens of Chickasha. Every time the school system has come forward with a bond issue to improve the facilities, the voters in this community have said yes every time. Not one time has a bond issue failed. So this is the citizens' school, they're paying for it, and I just want to congratulate Jim Blaze and the board, the staff of the Chickasha school system, and the people of this community, that this building is open for business, and the minds of our children are waiting. So thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Hank.
I read the book, A Dog Called Kitty, for the first time to my third grade students. I had never read it before, and we were at the last couple of chapters. I didn't know about the dog, and we got to that part. I'm crying, the kids are crying, and then Bill just happens to walk by my classroom, and he looks in, and everybody's crying. He says, "What's wrong?" So I went to the door, and I said, well, I didn't know this is how it was going to end. And I'm not saying what it is in case somebody hasn't read the book.
Right.
And so he came in, and he finished reading the book to the kids.
Oh.
And I just thought that was the neatest thing. And they never forgot that, neither did I.
Oh.
So it's just a memory to be cherished.
They'll always remember that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have our high school cheer and prom. They're going to come and do a little routine for Bill Wallace. Thank you, ladies. The high school prom is sponsored by Mrs. Dyer, and the cheerleading squad is sponsored by Miss Tammy Williams. Thank you, ladies, for doing that today.
Summer air conditioning in the winter.
Well, I bring you welcome from the 360 members of the Chickasha Chamber of Commerce. It is indeed a pleasure to be here today. This is a facility of which all citizens in Chickasha can be proud. It is a shining star in Chickasha, Oklahoma. This school is a prime example of the improvement in the quality of life that our community always talks about, and now we have a perfect example of it. The school is a tangible demonstration that our school board and administration and faculty are pursuing excellence in education. The school is an example of what can be done for the education of our children. As the mayor pointed out, visitors and people looking for the right place to locate their business can see from this school and the high school that Chickasha is dedicated to excellence in education. They can see that this is the right place to bring their family, the right city in which to locate their business. Excellence in public education and school facilities are major economic development draws for our community. Our young children now have the finest school anywhere to go to every day. These excellent facilities will stimulate learning. I personally had the privilege to go to a brand new school for my 5th and 6th grade a few years ago. But I still remember how proud all the kids were to say that they went to the new school. This school should make every parent proud to send their kids off to school every day. And we're going to have a ceremonial ribbon cutting now to officially open the school. Today we have our principal, Bill Wallace, early childhood center, Mrs. Teresa Meeks, is going to come say a few words. Mrs. Meeks.
Thank you, Mr. Glaze, and welcome everyone to the Bill Wallace Center. This did not happen overnight. The teachers that you are going to meet tonight gave up most of their summers to prepare for tonight. But before they could start their preparation, we had to have the help of Mr. Bush and all of his crew helping us move our belongings over here. So if we could give our teachers and Mr. Bush and his crew a great round of applause for helping us. And if I could I ask my teachers to slip out, and we will have children at your doors in just a few moments. Our vision and goal at Bill Wallace is to make leaders and readers. And to be a leader, you have to be a reader. And with the help of Bill Wallace and his wonderful stories that he wrote, it makes it very easy for children to grab that book and want to read. I was a first grade teacher for 17 years, and one of the first chapter books I read to my children every year was Not Spoons. And they couldn't wait to read that book by themselves. In fact, there were several copies in the room, and they would just get the book and they'd say, look, there's a word I know, and look, there's a word I know. And that's how it all begins, with wonderful people like Bill Wallace and his family who write stories and books for our children to grab onto and let their minds take them on a journey. So you have helped teachers many times over with your wonderful words and books, and we thank you so much. And no other name could this building be named but Bill Wallace. I am fixing to dismiss you, and if you will listen, I will tell you kind of the layout of those lands. When you exit, you go down the hallway, and I'm pointing south, I hope. You will go to the first grade pods, then you continue into garden pods, and then you will go to the main entrance and turn left, and you will find the pre-K pods. And there is all refreshments in the cafeteria for you. We have punch and cupcakes, and we want you to sit up and enjoy this wonderful facility as much as we have enjoyed it. And I want to thank the community for giving us this opportunity to have this building and to educate our youth in such a wonderful place. Thank you.